This Week in Startups is brought to you by WordPress.com. Right now, WordPress is offering you 15% off any new plan purchase. To create your small business website today, visit WordPress.com/twist. And Capterra. Join the millions of people who use Capterra every month. To start your search today, visit Capterra.com/twist. And Mighty Networks. Go to mightynetworks.com/twist and click on Create a Network to start your Mighty Networks business plan with a free 14-day trial.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of This Week in Startups. This is the show where we talk about entrepreneurship, investing, technology, media, all of those things. And our guest today is able to speak on all of them. He's a serial entrepreneur, angel investor, venture capitalist, podcaster, and Tim Ferriss's BFF. You know him as Kevin Rose.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Good to see you, old friend.
I know. It's been... Gosh, we go back at least 10 years now, longer.
2003 or 2004?
2004 is when Digg launched, is when you tried to buy the company.
It was so funny. I remember taking you to sushi, and at the time, I thought, I am so baller. I am going to take this kid to lunch. I am going to wow him, and I'm going to buy Digg. I did?
You did wow me quite a bit, yeah, because you were buying up all these blogs back then, and like you were creating an empire, dude.
I was hustling.
Crazy.
And I was like, this is the key piece. I told Peter Rojas, I was like, Engadget is now getting like 8% of its traffic from this thing Digg. And it was like 2% 3 months ago. Mm-hmm. We need to get this before it goes to 18%. This thing is going to go to the moon. And
I should have sold it to you.
It might have actually been a better return.
It might have.
Was it a donut for you ultimately? Well, you got some secondary shares at some point?
Yeah, as we were scaling, I sold some secondary shares. But yeah, I think that actually people don't know this, but the biggest asset that we had was the patents. So we had the patents on the Digg buttons and all of that. Oh. And so LinkedIn actually ended up buying that for several $million outside of the sale of the website to BetaWorks.
Interesting.
Which was crazy. So
you maybe get a little bit, but not... Isn't it interesting the thing you're most famous for was not actually, it was a huge success. You were so visionary when you look back on it. You essentially created what became the Facebook like button.
It's kind of crazy.
You think about it, and that was a huge piece of Facebook's success, was their ability, and Zuck copied that right off you.
Yeah, those things don't bother me. I think that at the time it was... he had his own little take on it. Mine was just called Diggs and his were likes. And it was clear that we were all kind of borrowing from each other.
Yeah.
Like when Delicious came out, Delicious was social bookmarking. And I remember seeing like the counts going up and thinking like, oh, someone needs to apply that to news.
Right.
So
it is interesting. And back then, what was fascinating was it seemed like a new product came out, every 3 or 4 weeks?
It's crazy. Yeah.
It was like every 3 or 4 weeks. It was like, did you see Digg? And like we could talk about it for 2 or 3 months. Now, you go on Product Hunt, and it's like there's 200 things that were launched today, and the 100th thing is better than anything we launched 15 years ago.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Do you keep up with all that? Are you constantly mining Product Hunt or no?
It's interesting, as we'll get right into the investor discussion then. So how do you source deals?
Yeah. Is
a really important question for somebody at the early stage like myself. Now you are back at True Ventures, or you had True Ventures for the first time.
That's right.
And before that, Google Ventures. And before that, you were an angel investor in dozens of companies. Some people may have heard of them. Facebook, Twitter, all the big ones. But are you doing early stage or mid to early stage?
Yeah, so True is right in that stage of Series A, $1 to $3 million check, and that's where they play. So they don't typically go outside of that. If it's too pricey, we're out. If it's too early stage, we're out. So
you want the product to be in market, have a little bit of traction. But not... El Fuego.
Yeah, it's hard. You have to catch them real quick because otherwise some of these that just blow up. It's almost like they skip the Series A.
So how do you find them? Is it really being Kevin Rose that helps you find them because your network is so big, you're so notable, a lot of entrepreneurs follow your media, that you just have inbound that gives you that little bit of an edge?
There's a lot of inbound that comes in that I think is... you get random emails, just entrepreneurs. I'm sure you get this all the time.
Sure.
And it's hard to even pick through that stuff because
Right.
it's just like a lot of just random pitches and
long emails telling their life story.
Really long emails. Yeah.
That's the worst. It's like, where's the link?
right.
You know, or the chart, or the image.
You just want a link, I want to download something if it's on
Right.
the App Store. So it tends to be just trusted friends.
Yeah.
It's going and meeting new entrepreneurs, getting to know them. They have friends. They introduce you to other folks. It's just a small group of people that slowly, kind of grows and grows over time.
Anything ever come over the transom that you can remember that was really good that you either missed or that you actually got?
Oh, that I've missed. There's been a ton of stuff.
Can you remember one? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember a friend was telling me about Pinterest. It was like, you need to check this out. And I went and met with the founder, and we had tea at some of our tea lounge. And he's like, I'd really love to have you in the deal. And at the time, he was like, there's an $8 million cap on this round. I was like, gosh, that's pricey. That's a little too pricey for me.
That's like double what we were used to, the $4 million.
Yeah,
rounds.
exactly. And I was just, at the time, I just couldn't see it. I didn't really see it expanding outside of this really kind of small little niche thing. And I ended up passing on that. But I mean, that's just like, another one is Instagram. So Kevin, the founder,
Kevin, yeah.
I knew Kevin quite well, and I wanted to invest, and I offered to invest, and Kevin said, sure. And then I went out, I had to check with Dave Morin because he had Path at the time, and I was an investor in Path.
Felt a little close.
He told me it was too close for comfort, so I ended up passing on Instagram.
Wow, so
But
out of
that's okay.
loyalty, you missed what would have been, I'm guessing it would have been a $10 million round for Instagram or so.
Yeah, that's right.
And it sold for $1 billion, so that's 100x or so. If you had put in $50K, you lost $5 million out of loyalty to Dave Morin.
I've done that math, yes. That's correct.
It's amazing the misses. When you start thinking about the math on the misses,
I know.
it's
But
insane.
it's okay, man.
All you got to do is hit one or two and you're fine.
That's right. And at the end of the day, it's like you can't look at it in terms of like 6 months or a year or 2 years. I mean, we're going to be doing this for quite some time, hopefully.
What are you, 40 now? 42?
40, yeah.
You're 40. I'm
Just turned
46.
40.
Yeah.
So
wow. Kevin Rose is 40 years old. Who would have guessed
it's crazy, man.
When I met you, you were just such a kid. And you were doing Digg Nation back then. That was the other thing that was huge. But how many episodes of Digg Nation, how many years did you do that for?
We did that for, I want to say 6 years, something like that.
And you were also on...
Hundreds of episodes.
Yeah. It was Tech TV was the thing you were on?
That's right. Yeah. So
in
Tech
LA.
TV in San Francisco initially on the screensavers, and then Comcast bought the company, and they merged us with G4 down in Los Angeles, which is
down
how I ended
Olympic
up down
Boulevard.
there. That's right.
Yeah, I
and that's
remember
right
that.
where we met. It
Right.
was on Olympic Boulevard at the sushi
I had
restaurant.
come, no, the one we met on was Colorado.
It was close by though, right? Or no?
Very close by.
Okay.
Yeah, Colorado in 26th, I took you there because I was living in a corporate apartment above there for $2,200
right.
a month, which was the Weblogs Inc.'s office and where I live with my girlfriend, now wife, Jade. But I remember going to Tech TV because I had seen you there, and you were doing like what, the call-in stuff Leo was doing, Leo Laporte.
So, was this in San Francisco or was this in...
No, in LA.
Oh, in LA, Leo was already
Leo
gone.
was gone.
So that's when
Yeah.
when Leo and the network parted ways. And then I was hosting the show out there with Alex, actually.
Yeah.
Alex Albrecht initially.
And Olivia Munn was there.
And then it became Kevin Pereira, and then Olivia Munn came in. Yeah.
I remember
And Olivia
meeting-
took my place when I left to go focus on Digg full time.
Wow.
kinda-
I remember
kinda
meeting
crazy.
her,
I
and
remember
she
meeting
was
her, too.
such a nerd.
Yeah.
And then I never put together that it was the same person
That we see in the movies and stuff
that we
today.
see now in the movies, and
Right.
is like she's in superhero films now.
Yeah.
And she was on The Newsroom, she was actually really good in that. Like, I guess she's got range. Did you know Olivia Munn was going to be like a big deal when you met her? Or
No, I really didn't. I mean, she seemed nice enough, but I had only done a couple episodes with her before I peeled off to leave and go do Digg full time.
when you look at the things you do, you are so good at interviewing people, and you're so in the moment when you're talking to people. And then you have building product, which you also seem to be in the moment. That seems to be a very flow experience for you. Mm-hmm. And then I see the angel investing, which I get the sense is less of a flow experience for you and more business. Which one do you love the most? Which one, if you, putting aside all financial returns, if you just woke up, would you want to be inside of InVision or, your base camp working with your team on your new meditation app? Or would you rather be meeting with founders and angel investing? Would you rather be hanging out and doing, the show with Kevin, with Tim?
Yeah, gosh.
What's the name of the show with Tim that you guys used to do?
It's just called The Random Show.
The Random Show.
Yeah.
You guys just talk
about random things.
Random things.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
I would say that first and foremost has to be building product. I mean, that's something when there's no greater feeling in my mind than having an idea, like just thinking of this initial kind of wireframe that's somewhere in your head, getting that on paper, turning that into actually an application that people are using. And when people enjoy it, that's so awesome.
Yeah. It had to be such a trip, though, with Digg. So many people were obsessed with it.
Yeah.
When did you know Digg was going to be huge? Was there like a moment where you're just like, this is going to be big?
Yeah. It was Paris Hilton's cell phone was hacked and some of her photos were put online, and that was the top result on Digg because we were able to break news so fast.
Right.
And
people have to remember, this is before Twitter.
That's right.
So if you wanted something to just exist on the internet very quickly, Digg was the quickest way.
Yeah, we were on that story was on the front page, and then what happened is Google indexed us under that keyword, and all of a sudden we had just our servers fell over.
Right.
And we just couldn't keep the traffic up. And I was like, wow, we're breaking news stories that traditional media should be talking about, or at least like TMZ or something.
Right.
And we were the site for that, and we had to go stand up another 4 or 5 servers right away. And this is when you were racking your own hardware.
It's amazing when you think about that. Like the prerequisite to having a site or a product in 2004, 2005 was being able to manage servers, physically manage servers.
Yeah, there was some shared hosting you could do, but if you started to get to some decent traction, you would have to go with like a Hurricane Electric or something like that and get your own dedicated box.
Right.
And then it was cheaper if you did it yourself. So if you actually we had a quarter rack and we started bringing in our own servers.
Quarter rack.
And,
so charming.
Yeah, so funny.
What have you learned about building great products? Is there something, after close to 20 years of this now, that you can look at, or 15 years, I don't know how long you've actually been building product, but is there something that you just go, you know what, this is what I wish I had known consciously makes a great product when you started?
I think that I'm sure you see this as well, in that when you're pitched various different companies, they tend to be almost 90% of the stuff I see is a small iteration or change of an existing product. It's really not that kind of like, it's been talked about before, but that order of magnitude improvement or that really truly novel idea. So things for me that I really get excited about tend to be like these big, bold, what at the time seemed very crazy ideas. And I'm attracted to those types of ideas and those types of founders. Like, I'll give you an example. Like last week, Ryan Hoover, who started Product Hunt, he said, hey, I have an entrepreneur I want you to meet. And she has created this bot called Double. Have you heard of this thing?
No.
Okay, so essentially, it's like a bot that you feed with information about yourself, and it's called Double. It's like your body double.
Right.
And then someone else can come in and have a conversation with your bot.
I've heard about this.
And it's almost like you're talking to you if I'm not around, and you can ask it questions like, where did we see that movie together, blah, blah. And it's starting to tie all this data together.
Wow.
And so it's answering. And in my head, I thought, well, I don't see this as a product I would really fund, but it's fascinating. Like there's something there. There's a little nugget of something that could be really cool.
Creating a doppelganger of yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to surround myself by people like that, like founders that are having these big, bold, like Philip Rosedale from Second Life, crazy creative thinker, like people like that where they just they just spew nonsense, but it's really cool nonsense, you know?
There's a fine line between that nonsense and then actually making something visionary.
That's right.
How do you know the difference, I guess, is the big question. How do you know somebody is not a just complete, utter maniac, BS artist, or that they actually have it? You know what? Save that. And when we get back from this message, I want to talk about how you look at a founder and determine if they're investable or not when we get back on This Week in Startups. Hey everybody, let me tell you about a product I've been using for over 10 years. It's WordPress.com. Small business owners, WordPress.com is saluting you. They know you're out there making a big difference, creating jobs, and creating great products and services. WordPress is the perfect solution to build your website and keep it up to date. They are powering more websites with WordPress than any other platform. They've been at this for a long time. I've known Matt Mullenweg forever. He's been on this podcast, I think, 3 times. He's a fantastic, fantastic founder. And that's why I use WordPress on calacanis.com and this very site, thisweekinstartups.com. They provide great design features and 24-hour support. 7 days a week. You can pick from 350 easy-to-use themes. Just pick a domain, select a plan, and start building. It's mobile-friendly, super easy to use. Go to wordpress.com/twist, wordpress.com/twist, and you will be able to create your small business website today, and you'll get 15% off any new plan purchase. That's right, 15% off, wordpress.com/twist. It's a great product and a great founder and a great team over there. So go ahead and visit wordpress.com/twist. Okay, let's get back to this amazing episode. Hey everybody, welcome back to This Week in Startups. I'm your host, Jason Calacanis. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Jason. My guest today, the one, the only, Kevin Rose. You can follow him on Twitter, Kevin Rose, and he's working with the good team over at True Ventures. You know him as the founder of Digg, Milk, Revision 3, a bunch of other stuff. Worked at Google Ventures for a little bit. You seem to work like 2 years at 2-year sprints, and then you go on to the next thing. Is that your cadence? Is that like, well, you have ADD or?
Well, it's funny. It's you can say, okay, well, I mean, Digg was 7.5 years. Yeah, so that was long. That was a big one.
Yeah.
Revision 3 is about the same. It was about 6 years till we sold it to Discovery Channel.
Right. I forgot about Revision 3. My God, that was a very successful company. When you think about how early you were on that, were you too early on that? Like, if you think about the podcasting revolution and YouTubers?
I think a little bit early. We sold it for $35 million to Discovery. It still exists today. It's their kind of digital arm.
Such a solid double.
Yeah, it's a solid double.
Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
But
so early. Complain. So early when you think about it, like you're like, we're going to make a TV network.
Well, podcasting in general, if you think about back when we were doing this, how hard it was to get those initial sponsors. And like now everybody wants to sponsor podcasts.
Well, it's so effective, right? I mean, when the founder of the show or the host of the show reads the ad,
right,
and you have an audience who's there for the founder or the host, it just puts it right together. I mean, my wife, Jade, bought like all this mushroom tea.
Which brand?
She heard it on Tim Ferriss's podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Now my drawers are filled with this Chega.
Yeah.
Chega.
Do you like it?
I mean, I like coffee, so I have it once in a while.
You put a little bit in your coffee?
Exactly. I take the mushroom elixir. And
you doing the lion's mane or the?
I got the lion's mane.
It's good for your brain.
It's good for your brain. And I don't know, Tim Ferriss like says something, my wife buys it.
I love doing the body hacking stuff. That's a lot of fun.
You were talking about something. Kiefer, I don't know, some guy who jumps in ice water.
Oh, Wim Hof.
Wim Hof. I'm sorry. You say it like I should know what a Wim Hof is.
Dude, that's a man's name.
Okay, so there's a guy named Wim Hof.
Yeah.
And you took a course with Wim Hof or something.
Yeah, a 10-week course.
A 10-week course. Explain to people why you took this course and what it is.
Yeah, well, there's a great scientist by the name of Dr. Rhonda Patrick. And she has a podcast called Found My Fitness. Mm-hmm. And she took a bunch of published science and broke it all down in something that we can understand. It's like her 10-page report PDF on cryotherapy, talking about the health benefits of like shocking your body in that way.
Yeah.
And the same applies to sauna usage as well. So I was reading this paper and I was just like, wow, this is really fascinating stuff. And she was getting, kind of domain experts and researchers talking about it. And she had Wim on her podcast. And it releases this compound in the brain, norepinephrine, and it gives you this crazy euphoria when you start doing these kind of like ice baths. And it lasts throughout the day and throughout the weeks as you're doing it.
Oh, really?
So I was like, well, I got to give this a shot. Like, why not? Let's see what happens. And initially, the 10-week course, it starts with like 30 seconds cold shower. So you do a standard shower.
Yeah, I do that.
In with 30 seconds. Do you end with 30 seconds cold?
Yeah.
You've done that.
I do it probably every other shower.
Okay, that's good. Well, that's a good start.
It makes me feel alive.
That makes you feel alive, right?
Right.
So if you do that 5 times a week in a row, and then slowly work that up to a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
God, no.
He's got a protocol for it though. So like you start off like 30 seconds cold, back to hot, and then 30 seconds cold again. And so it works up over a series of weeks. And then by week 10, I was up to my neck in the bathtub. I brought home like 12 bags of ice, emptied them into the bathtub with cold water, and then stayed 15 minutes, not even shivering or anything.
You were 15 minutes in an ice bath?
Oh, sure, no problem. It was insane. And you feel amazing for weeks. I'm telling you.
Okay, I know there is one thing that's very well known, which is ice baths and this type of thing reduce swelling in your body.
Oh, absolutely. Athletes do it right after a game. Yeah.
Of course. LeBron James is like jumped into an ice bath immediately after getting off the court, I'm assuming. So what is it about this that's different? Is there some other thing? You're doing it for psychological and emotional well-being as well?
That's right. So there's a series of different compounds. I don't want to get them wrong, but they're in the PDF where they actually, with cited peer-reviewed science behind it, that your brain releases when you put yourself through this kind of cold shock. And so your body kind of freaks out and it releases these compounds, and it just, it's that combined with breathing exercises that he does as well, which are pretty intense exercises.
I think there's something to this because in my younger years, when I practiced Taekwondo in Brooklyn frequently, anytime it would snow, we'd have a tradition, especially if it was a blizzard, of going for a 3-mile run and then practicing in the park.
I love that.
And when I say this is challenging, like we would start running when there was 2 inches of snow. We get done, 45 minutes later running in a blizzard.
Yeah.
And now you're at 1.5 feet of snow, and then we'd practice. Then to add to it, we take our jackets off. We'd just be in a t-shirt, and we take our shoes off. And we'd be barefoot in the snow.
You would fit right in with Wim Hof then. This is what they do.
This is how the black belts would train. We train in the mountains with our shoes off in the snow, and you would very quickly get used to it.
Yeah.
In fact, we'd be steaming because there would be so much heat coming off our bodies. You would never feel cold. You would acclimate to it very quickly, but it definitely did. I think give it definitely a sense of euphoria. What other body hacks are you doing now? Tim Ferriss is into all these body hacks. You're into all this stuff. You were really early on keto. You were taking your blood and all that kind of stuff.
I was doing ketogenic diet for a while. That was a lot of fun. I think in terms of just cognitive performance, I think that's probably the best diet one can be on to give you that straight brain boost in the morning.
Right.
With the
just taking all carbs out.
Not all carbs. You pretty much want 25 a day. Yeah. It's kind of where the sweet spot is. And then the majority of it comes from fat, all of your calories. And then your body produces ketones. That's another energy source. And you just feel amazing. So I like trying all these little things. I'm probably trying 4 to 5 different experiments a year.
And meditation you're into like I am.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've been really getting into meditation over the last few years.
What do you find is the benefit for entrepreneurs? I mean, putting aside humans, obviously, but just for entrepreneurs specifically, meditation, people who are building startups. Why is this so important, do you think?
Well, the thing that I realized during my Digg days was that the stress can catch up with you eventually. I think that, I was going through, it was a really wild ride. I mean, there's all the crazy magazine covers and the press, and then, the eventual collapse and the sale and all that stuff that went along with it. So, as you can imagine, my body just didn't, I needed to find an outlet to kind of have a release valve to kind of let off some of that pressure. So for me, meditation has been just a way, I worry that we're just pushing entrepreneurs to be this kind of like soda and pizza culture working around the clock. And it's in the long term, it's just not healthy. And some people have like mental breakdowns. I mean, we've all heard about these crazy, really sad stories where there's been some entrepreneurs now that have committed suicide because their startups don't work out. And
Cambrian technology.
We really need to, one, reframe how we look at failure, and two, just find balance. It's not about hustle for me. It's about working the right amount of hours in a very structured and smart way, so you're very productive, but also enjoying all aspects of life and not just the thrill of that, startup environment.
And if you had those tools, you would have had a little more clarity and a lot less anxiety and stress during the Digg days. Yeah, but at that time, the culture there was something about working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. That was kind of the culture, Zuckerberg would be like, lock down the campus, and all this kind of stuff. It's not actually the best for long term. I mean, I understand why people do it in terms of competition.
Well, I think when you have a deadline and you have a kind of an all hands on deck and everyone's really pushing for a really fun release and you want to get the pizzas and do a late nighter, nothing wrong with that. Right. But it's these company cultures that don't let up on that. And it's just nonstop for years on end. I think Google had a little bit of this actually, because it was just, they were, well, at least in the Google Plus camp, they were pushing so hard, all of the engineers and all the product managers, and it was just, they would never let up to enjoy life. It was crazy.
Right. And it's that life that gives you inspiration and clarity when you come back to your desk. Right.
Well, I feel that one of the things that certainly I know we practice it at True is that if you can really, you're most creative when you're not stressed. You know, when we realize that when working with founders and entrepreneurs, it's like getting to that place to where you can tap into that creativity. It's important to kind of, figure out that balance so that I don't know about you, but if I'm under a lot of pressure, I have a really hard time even being productive. It's kind of like a compounding thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I had it early in my career where I felt like if in the Weblog Sync days, if I wasn't pushing hard, then I wasn't successful. Whereas at a certain point, I should have been maybe spending a little more time out and about and relaxing and enjoying the success.
Right.
And I would have probably had better ideas. And now we have such a great opportunity to outsource so many components of a business, and you can get to the core of what a business is, right? Like the design of it, listening to the users, right? There's a lot of extraneous stuff that you can just outsource now, like building the servers, like we talked about, or even now, sales teams, you can get SDR, sales development reps, just outsource it, accounting, HR. You just outsource all this stuff that was very stress producing. Even getting office space was so stressful. I think one of the most stressful things for entrepreneurs, at least in my career in the early days of doing this, was signing a lease.
Right.
Negotiating and signing a lease was like the most terrifying thing in the world. Oh my God, 5 years, I got to sign this.
And it's typically tied to your like personal credit and things like that.
Yeah, and then they're like, we want you to personally sign for this. And you're like, I'm 25 years old, I have no money, and this is a $500,000 a year lease. Like, what are you going to get from me? Like,
that was what the great thing about WeWork, just being able to jump in and
you just jump in. It's like, if you don't like it, you can stop. One thing I asked you before we got a little sidetracked there was, how do you pick founders? Is there such a thing to you as investor-founder match? And if so, what are the founders that you work best with, do you think?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, I like the really creative type. But in terms of picking them, I think that first and foremost is the idea for me is like the attraction. Like that gets me excited. And then really before I'm willing to commit to a deal, it's finding the founder that has the capacity to especially, it depends on how seasoned they are, but if they're a little bit more junior, that's willing to ask the right questions and willing to learn. I feel like this is something that I really struggled with. You think when you're young, you just have all the right answers, and you have to be willing to open up and ask other people for help. I think that's a big one. And just looking at that initial founding team and who are the people that they've surrounded themselves with, who are those first 2 or 3 employees. So oftentimes I don't just meet the CEO and go into a deal. It's like, oh, let me meet your technical co-founder, or let me meet your designer, and just asking them some questions as well to see who that initial kind of seed of culture they put together so far. And evaluating that whole thing like holistically, I think is really important.
It's interesting. Who you surround yourself says as much about who you are, maybe even more.
Yeah.
Like, who's willing to put their effort into your vision, right? It's super telling.
Yeah, and actually, Saka was the first one to kind of open my eyes to this many years ago. But
Chris Saka,
yeah, Chris Saka is now retired investor, is going and looking at people's tweets on their personal accounts. And just seeing how they carry themselves, what things they're interested in, just like little things like that are small tells. I'm just looking for a well-rounded, as well as I do, that the CEO's job, especially in the early days, it's like wearing a dozen different hats, So
whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes, yeah. So finding someone that isn't just a full, just like very niche developer and that's all they can do. They have to have people skills. They have to have the vision. I mean, there's 1,000 different things that you kind of want to check the box on.
All right, when we get back from this final break, I want to share with everybody the designs of your new app and how you're building this open source in a way. It's called Oak Meditation, is that right?
Oak, yeah.
Oak, it's just Oak.
Yeah, it'll probably have Oak Meditation in the name when it launches.
Well, got to do a little SEO on the App Store SEO. But I want to show people how you're building the company, because you're building the company in a very open way. It's like an open company movement when we get back on This Week in Startups. Hey, everybody. I want to tell you about an amazing website to help you find the software you need to run your business efficiently. That site is Capterra, CAPTERRA.com/twist. Go there right now and you will find the software you need to solve your business problems. Yes, if you need websites built, customer service, project management, maybe you want to track your applications or figure out email marketing, all these complex software solutions that you need can be found at the website Capterra. It's like Yelp, but for software. So you go there and there's thousands of reviews sitting around and you can read the reviews of actual users before you make a costly mistake and pick the wrong software solution. I've done this over and over again. I think that I found the best software solution. I train everybody, we install it, we invest hundreds of hours and then find out that there's a better solution. Then we have to rip it out, move the data over. You don't want to do that. You want to go to capterra.com/twist. capterra.com/twist. It's absolutely free for consumers. There is no obligation for you. You don't need to register. You can just go there right now, capterra.com/twist, and you will be able to figure out what the best software solution is and read those reviews. They're high quality reviews. It's a free resource that's going to help you make the right software decision. You don't want to make a mistake. This will cost you nothing. It's going to find you a better solution, and it's going to save you time. What's not to like? We use it all the time here at This Week in Startups and Launch and all my companies to find the best software to solve business problems. Capterra.com/twist. Find the software that'll make you do what you do better. Okay, let's get back to this amazing program. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to This Week in Startups. My guest is Kevin Rose. You can follow him at Kevin Rose. He just finished up a stint as the CEO of Hodinkee.
You're close.
Hodinkee. It was called Watchville before.
That's right. And then we merged with Hodinkee that had been around for a while. So now those teams are put together and they're all based in New York.
And I remember you really figured out Instagram for commerce early on. Was that a big part of the success of building the audience?
Yeah, I think Instagram has certainly helped out in launching that product and getting kind of visibility. They have there's a lot of original editorial there as well. So there's 2 or 3 new articles per day. They're really hardcore niche kind of watch nerds that are into this. There's about 1 million people a month come to the site.
Wow. And you guys, I know because I would get the investor updates, and I think it was public, but you would sell a certain number of watches in a very short period of time that had incredibly high sticker prices. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so
the power of the community.
We've been told that we hold the record for the largest Apple Pay transaction. And so that was done via mobile, like buying something on e-commerce.
Wow.
It was a $175,000 sight unseen Paul Newman Daytona vintage Rolex, which was kind of crazy. Somebody out of Texas bought it.
Was this actually Paul Newman's watch, or Paul Newman has
it's just what they call it. It's just like he popularized it by wearing it when he was younger. So that's the style. It's very rare, and so it was kind of crazy to experience that and to really start to teach Switzerland that it's not about these boutiques anymore, and that people actually are buying and spending money online.
It is amazing when you think about commerce now, how when we started, the idea that somebody would put their credit card in the internet was like scary.
Right, super scary.
It was like, I will never put my credit card on the internet. I'll never buy anything online. And now people are buying and spending money just very quickly online.
Yeah, it's crazy. And especially when I think, the key to Hodinkee's success has been this idea that there's a blend of content and commerce.
Right.
So really creating the content and the trust and the 7 years of amazing, blog content.
Right.
To build up that audience and then layering on commerce on top of that. I think that's going to be a big piece of content going forward, is figuring out how to monetize it.
It feels like Brit & Co. is doing that. We just had Brit on the program. And then who else is doing that really well? I was just thinking about somebody who, Brian Lamb's company, Wirecutter, which just got sold for $35.
Yeah.
It seems like $35 million is like what these content
That's
companies.
What yours sold for, right?
Weblogs, 30. It was 25 for Weblogs and then 5 for the Blogsmith platform, which
That's so funny.
We had held back to selling them, and then they came back and they're like, we kind of need Blogsmith. So I was like, all right, $5 million more. But that seems to be, you've read the Wirecutter, I'm sure. Like I read the Wirecutter, and I'm just like, now I have a theory. If I want to buy a product, getting to the sort of essentialism or like buying it for the last time, like just, I'm going to buy everything one more time in my life. I don't want to have to buy it a second time. I want to just be the guy who has like the boots for 20 years or the toaster oven for 20 years.
I'm the same way, yeah. Unless it's technology, in which case it's
every 9 months.
Yeah, exactly. Or every Apple keynote.
No, today I was just like, they had the Apple keynote, and I was just like, I guess I'm getting a new iPad Pro.
Right.
I'm addicted to that iPad Pro.
It looks amazing now. It's almost like a laptop. I mean, it basically is at this point.
It's basically converged. I think they're
Because they have the keyboard that attaches to it now, so
it's pretty.
It looks fun.
It's pretty slick. Okay, let's talk a little bit about you're building a product. Now you're a full-time venture capitalist.
Yeah, I would say I'm technically a venture partner there. So,
what's the difference between a managing partner, or a general partner, I guess, and a venture partner?
It's just how much time you're committed to the fund. Okay. So I sat down with True and actually a couple other funds when I first started coming back to the Bay Area and decided to move back out.
Because you had moved to New York for a couple of years.
I moved to New York, yeah. So we focused on Hodinkee for a couple of years. That's a profitable business and scaling. Hired a COO to come in and kind of run the day-to-day. I'm staying on the board there.
Cool.
And so I'll be out there once a quarter for our meetings. But then came back to the Bay Area and, I was thinking about, okay, what is going to allow me to, like, to your point earlier about every 2 to 3 years, like I was 3 years at GV and then I bounced out.
Yeah.
And I wanted to find that blend of allowing me to dabble and play and build products, not in a way that I'm trying to raise venture funding, but just in a way that kind of scratches that itch.
Right.
That's kind of what I do with my fasting app. Like it's 100% free, no ads or anything like that. Just like launch it for fun.
What's the fasting app?
Oh, you haven't seen this yet?
No.
Yeah, it's called Zero. And
Zero.
so
what does it do? Because I just started doing this fasting.
Intermittent fasting. So
that's what I just started doing.
Oh, cool. Well, it's an intermittent fasting tracker. It's really simple. It tracks your circadian rhythms as well, so it knows when you're eating into the night and things like that.
And you're not supposed to eat into the night.
You're not, well, according to the science from Dr. Panda out of Salk Institute, it's best not to eat into the night.
Right. So finish up around 7 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly. 7, 8 o'clock, something like that.
I was using the stopwatch on my Apple.
Yeah.
I would just literally set a timer for 12 hours.
Yeah, I was doing that too. This allows you to track it historically over time and creates a beautiful little spreadsheet you can export.
That's exactly what I was going to do. I was like, I'm going to start a spreadsheet to do this and how often I'm fasting. Is this worked in terms of weight loss and
yeah, it helps a ton with weight loss. There was a study with 3,000 women that had gone into remission for breast cancer, and they found out that fasting just 13 hours a night was a 38% reduction in reoccurrence of cancer.
Wow, that's
which is crazy.
wild.
It was over 3,000 women in the study.
I wonder what the theory of why this is such a productive thing for humans to do. I guess it's letting your body rest.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different theories. There's two leading scientists in this area, Dr. Longo, who's been doing a lot of chemotherapy plus fasting related science, and Dr. Panda. Those are the two big ones. And they have a couple different theories, but one of them is, yes, your body's not consuming food. It has more time to, do more maintenance, kind of defragging, cleaning up, doing repairs, things like that, because it's not focused on that kind of like chewing and breaking up food in the middle of the night while you're sleeping. So,
which seems, I think you get more deep sleep, and the deep sleep is the restorative sleep, I think.
Yeah, deep sleep is the really restorative, kind of rebuilding muscles and tissues and things like that.
Yeah, I've been struggling with my sleep.
You got to get the Aura ring then.
Oh, Aura launched at our conference.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, like 5 years ago. I didn't even know they were still in business. It's a guy from Norway or something.
Yeah, that's right.
I met this guy like 5 years ago. Does it work for sleep tracking?
It's amazing for sleep. Yeah.
I've been using I have 2 different Fitbits, and they started tracking your heart rate now.
Yeah.
And they really started to benchmark deep versus light, but the Aura works, yeah?
The reason I like the Aura, so I have Dr. Peter Tia is my doctor. He's kind of like crazy TED Talk longevity doctor. And he has done the full on like probes like hooked up all over me and done the heart rate variability testing. And he's tested all of the different ones and compared them and see which ones get the most accurate data. And because of the kind of proximity of the ring touching the main arteries of your finger, it's really tight against the skin, and that allows it to get even better heart rate readings than, say, something like a loose band on your wrist. Yeah. So, it's a pretty amazing app, and it's a great little product. And it shows you all the different stages of sleep.
Yeah, I haven't been getting enough of this restorative sleep, and I've been working out too much. So then it's like a bad combo.
Some little lozenges over there for a sore throat. Are you under the weather?
What they do is, I've been doing this podcast for so long. It's like 750 episodes. And it's a cash cow. It's got 4 full-time people who work on it. There's 100 episodes a year. It makes $1 million a year. I can't get sick. It's just every week, 2 episodes. So you're lucky. You just look at all this stuff as like, I'll do an episode when I feel like it. Me, I'm tied to it now. So I can never stop.
How do the lozenges fit into this? Are you getting like Tony Robbins, like horse
No, it's not that. What it is my team is so paranoid about me losing my voice that now they put out a tea. They put out throat coat tea, which is tea for like opera singers. They put out a cup of coffee and a Coke Zero for me because they know I like that. Then they put out lozenges just in case something happens.
You got a good team, man. They're taking care of you.
I got a good team. They do. But I kind of think they're doing it for themselves. I think they're just doing it because they if these pipes go and I can't do the podcast, that's it. Everybody loses their job. I'm just kidding. But it's kind of true. So what's the story with Oak now? Pull up my screen if you can in the control room. For those of you not looking, I'm looking at it in beautiful iPhone 6 with a gorgeous...
That's a little sprout. Yeah.
A sprout. And what happens? The sprout grows every time I
so
breathe or meditate?
We wanted a really kind of basic, friendly way to introduce people to meditation. And one of the things that we do with Oak, so Oak's in beta right now. It's not in the App Store, I should say that. This is, what you're seeing here is just a screenshot of our group that we have. There's about 15,000 people on it.
That's incredible. 15,000 people.
Yeah,
they're there for meditation, or they're because you're talking about
a little bit of both.
The startup?
Yeah, so they're learning about meditation. They're also helping me, providing me feedback on how to make the app better. So one of the things that, just to get back to that screenshot real quick, is as you progress and you unlock kind of more meditations, and eventually you'll turn into a full blown kind of oak tree, and that'll be. I think we have a screenshot of that as well. I don't know if you have it up there.
Yeah, I can put it.
But that's what happens after you kind of like get to the, it's a little further along.
Levels.
Yeah, that's not the furthest level, but it's getting a little further along.
Yeah.
So it's missing some of the UI components that are now baked into it, but you can kind of see where we're going.
Yeah.
So the idea was to do this fully in the public, and to basically, I wanted to create an app and be completely transparent from the very beginning in terms of how much everything is costing us, to all of the different betas, to how we're selecting the sounds, to the different voices that we're using for guided meditation. And the thing that is really, I think, is the coolest thing that's come out of this app is that every time there's a successful meditation or unsuccessful, if someone stops early, we slide up a survey during the meditation. We say, why did you stop early? Or after you complete the meditation, like, how did you like the cadence? How did you like the speaker's voice? And we prompt you, and essentially we've had now thousands of people fill out the survey. And then I have another group of folks that help me out on this, and they pick through all of that research, and they kind of bubble up the biggest issues that the app is facing. So if you think about how traditional meditation works, or apps in general, it's, okay, we have our meditation script, we write it, we record it, and we release it, and that's it. Like, wash your hands, you're done.
Right.
What we're doing is kind of like the first kind of evolving meditation. So we've gone through 100+ edits on this like script and copy and pacing and cadence and voices and all of this, and we're slowly watching our score, because we do kind of like a NPS almost like type score. And we're slowly seeing it creep up, and I'm finally at the point now where we're almost getting ready to lock down the script and say we've got it.
I want to thank my friends over at Mighty Networks. Gina built me a network for This Week in Startups that you can go play with. Type This Week in Startups into your app store and download it, and you'll find 2,000 entrepreneurs talking about startups. It's a really amazing network, and we could even charge people to be members of the network. It's free right now, but we may do that in the future and then hire somebody to be the community manager for it. And it really helps you organize your group, see statistics, and do polls. It's kind of like your own little social network just for yourself, and it really has helped us because we have 150,000 people who download every episode. Now we have the 1% of those people, just over 1%, hanging out every day talking about startups. So it's transforming our business in just the first 2 months of using it. And you can go create your own Mighty Network right now. MightyNetworks.com/twist, MightyNetworks.com/twist. Click on Create a Network, and you can start your business plan for free for 14 days. It is an incredibly powerful tool, and Gina is just a brilliant founder who's been working on this for a while. If you tweet a link to me with your network, at Jason and at Mighty Networks, we will... the best one is going to receive a T-shirt from Mighty Networks, and I might even retweet it for you. So go ahead and tweet me your network at Jason at Mighty Networks with the hashtag Mighty Twist to win that free T-shirt and a retweet from me. And go ahead and check out community.thisweekinstartups.com, and you can join the Mighty Network of super fans of the show talking about startups. All right. It is a very interesting sea change in product development. Back in the day, when you started making products, it was, hey, what did the artist create? The world consumes it, and whatever. Maybe you iterate on it every 3, 6, or 9 months. Now you have all this real-time data,
Right.
and this kind of science behind Net Promoter and engagement metrics. You can actually really start to understand how to evolve the app in real time and to push changes daily.
That's right.
Weekly.
That's right. And the cool thing about what I want to do is if you think about what a guided meditation is, it's just a series of cues, like voice prompts throughout the meditation. And I want to, once we get to scale and launch this thing, kind of dynamically shift some of that around and A/B test different outcomes and see how successful they are against the pool of people, and hopefully start to kind of slowly take pieces out as people are starting to get a little more comfortable with the software. So it's a way to graduate them from what would be a pretty heavy on the instruction side first meditation through to maybe just a handful of words and a 20-minute guided meditation a little further along.
Interesting. So you could have 4 different cohorts, each do different lengths,
Exactly.
and then see which ones come back to the app more frequently,
Right.
as a proxy for getting value.
Right. Exactly.
Because ultimately, engagement equals value. People wouldn't engage unless they were addicted, I guess, which I guess would be a form of value. Like if you're addicted to Farmville, that is the value of Farmville, is
Right.
coming back over and over again.
Yeah, and we have some breathing exercises in there as well, and some kind of like learn links so you can listen to.
In the future, my theory is everybody is going to have their own meditation app. Sort of like blogs.
You got to have yours, man. Where's yours at?
No, I'm not going to do it. I could do. I could
have their own
I could do
meditation
my
app.
voice. Find a comfortable place
Yeah,
with your feet on the ground.
that's good.
Put your hands on your thighs or in a comfortable position. No, everybody knows I'm an investor in calm.com, but then my very good friend Sam Harris.
Sam's awesome. I love his podcast. I've never met him, but his podcast.
Oh, we will have dinner at some point. It would be a
That's
killer.
awesome.
We should have Tim. The 4 of us should have dinner. When I lived in LA, myself and Sam and 2 other friends, notable folks, used to go to dinner like every other week and just sit. So imagine like 2 technologists, a media person, and Sam talking about just random stuff, like talking about the random show. And it was like, looking back at it, I was like, wow, that's the thing. One of the things I missed most about leaving LA was my poker game and this random dinner with Sam and 2 other folks.
You should have recorded that. That would have probably been a fun little podcast.
We couldn't have, because we're literally sitting there talking about, radical terrorism and all kinds of things that, the media sphere now is so punitive for thinking out loud or having a discussion that is in any way freewheeling, because it's part of your permanent record and because of the sort of outrage cycle on Twitter. I really blame it on Twitter. Like, Twitter has this outrage cycle that if somebody trips up, minor or major, it's just the violence of the reaction becomes so strong that you lose all your sponsors. You are fired by whoever's publishing your shit. It's weird. I never thought Twitter would result in...
It's like the masses are taking control,
Yeah. It's a double-edged sword.
It is a double-edged sword. That's the most dangerous type of sword. It cuts both ways.
Exactly. Because sometimes they're like, oh, has Justine landed? Remember the woman who's like, oh, I'm going to South Africa. I hope I don't get AIDS. Haha. And
I didn't remember that.
So there was a woman who worked at IAC. Her name was Justine. And she wrote something that was meant at humor. She was like a really sarcastic. She was known for her sarcasm. And she's somebody with like 500 followers on Twitter. And it became a whole thing where she said, like, going to South Africa. And she was kind of trying to make a joke about the fact that nobody cares about the plight of Africans and HIV. But she said it in like the most crass way possible. Like, going to South Africa, going to Africa, whatever. Hope I don't get AIDS. Oh, wait, I'm white, huh? And it was like, oh, couldn't possibly say it worse. And while she's on her transatlantic flight for 12 hours, one of the trolls over at Gawker picks up on it, posts the story, and proceeds to create a huge lynch mob that then puts the hashtag as has Justine landed yet? And then, of course, the people from Reddit are at the airport waiting for her to take videos of her coming off the plane as her parents meet her there and say, by the way, the world thinks you're a racist piece of garbage. That's why there's, 10 people here videotaping you. And she's got to try to explain her life. And then I think later it was kind of interesting. The writer from Gawker, I can't remember which one it was. It might have been Sam Biddle or somebody, like kind of made amends with her and did a blog post about ruining her life and how he just didn't think of her as a human being, but just saw like a cavalier statement, and which is why Marc Andreessen deleted his entire Twitter handle.
Oh, is that one of the reasons? He's back though now, right?
I think he's back favoriting. So what he does is he just likes stuff. But he said this thing about colonialism in India. I don't know if you saw that one.
Oh, I did see that one. Yeah,
he was kind of like, ooh. Like, I read Sapiens 2, and I understand, like, when the bigger culture defeats the existing culture, like, net, some group of scientists thinks that things get better for society. Doesn't feel great for the indigenous people to still be crushed or, Anyway, it's very weird. So where do you go with this? If it works, do you then start charging, or you make a business out of it, or is this just all tinkering?
Well, I think...
and how much will it cost? Because that was the other thing.
Yeah, so we have a spreadsheet up there, a Google Sheet that we've shared. And this is, I think, shocking to a lot of people because they have no idea how much apps actually cost to be developed. Most folks don't.
Yeah.
And, when we said we're spending $20,000 to have like the Meditation 101 video done, people are like, oh my God, $20,000.
Right.
And I think it's a really good thing because so many times, there'll be a lot of people that complain about free software and they get really upset, like, why isn't this a certain way? And, it's important to remember that there's a lot of time and effort and expense that goes into a lot of this stuff. So I think it's hopefully helping people, hopefully encouraging people to support software development and purchase products because they do cost money and they do have to be profitable in the end. But for me, I think that this is going to start off as just being a free product. We'd eventually like to recoup the costs. I think all in will probably end up being $75,000 to develop this.
That's pretty cheap.
Yeah, it's not crazy expensive, but
that's incredible.
Yeah,
actually.
It's myself and one other developer, and then we have some freelancers that come in and out.
Yeah, so you're not counting your time, which would be very expensive.
But honestly, I just want people to use it. I think that with Zero, we launched in December, and now we've had this week we'll cross 1 million fasts.
Wow,
which is kind of crazy. So that's been growing at an amazing pace. So hopefully we can do the same in meditation. The thing is, there's a lot of, as you know, with these meditation apps, and especially, I don't know if you know about transcendental meditation.
I do.
It's a form of mantra-based meditation.
Yeah, it costs thousands of dollars.
$1,500 to get trained up in it, and it's a really basic concept.
Yeah, they give you a word that you repeat.
That's right.
And then
and a little bit of coaching around it.
A little coaching
for like a couple days. I've taken the class and
you did
and got my word and all that stuff.
Did you feel it was worth the $1,500?
I did appreciate the kind of Q&A side of things, but this is an example of something where I feel like this information should just be set free. I don't really think it's something that requires, I don't know why you would spend $1,500 on it. It's such a very basic, simple concept.
Yeah. Is it like a patented, trademarked?
Well, they've trademarked the name Transcendental Meditation, but the idea of mantra-based meditation, which is essentially what it is, has been around long before they came up with the trademark for Transcendental Meditation.
And how do they give you your word? Because it's unique to each person. The teacher then dubs it upon you? Or?
It's based on your birth date. So you can look online. There's Wikipedia entries of like all the words that you get. And even though they say it's secret, I could tell you what your word is basically by looking up your birth date. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that really feels like a scam.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, here's what I'll say about the organization. Like, I don't know about the organization, but I can tell you that the idea of just a mantra works quite well. Like, the meditation technique is valid.
Versus, say, focusing on the breathing.
That's another form, which is what we're teaching initially. That's the Vipassana style,
Vipassana
mindfulness meditation, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing, and then we're launching mantra. We're doing our mantra words are not going to be assigned to you based on your birth date, but you'll be able to pick them. And it was actually based on a Stanford study that was done on mantra words. So we're taking the ones from the study.
I want to try this. What's your mantra word?
What is my mantra word?
Can you tell me or no?
I can't tell.
Are you not allowed to say?
No, it's.
Did you sign
you
an
could look it
agreement?
up. You could look it up. It's mine from TM mine is hearing.
Hearing.
Yeah. And if you looked up born in 1977, February 21st, it would show you on that
hearing.
It's hearing. You're not supposed to say that. That's part of the thing. They're like, you cannot share your mantra word. I'm like, it's on the internet. Like anyone can look it up. I don't know that they're super old school organization.
I think they're about franchising and all that kind of stuff.
There is a lot of that going on. There's a great documentary on it called, that was banned in the United States.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they threatened to sue them if they launched in the United States. They got all these behind the scenes interviews and then went into the organization and kind of did like do you remember the one called Clear? that was done by on the Scientologists.
Of course, yeah.
So there was a similar one done on transcendental meditation.
These groups I believe these groups use the secrecy as a marketing tool.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if it's secret and they're defending it, it's special.
Oh, 100%. It's that much cooler. Everybody wants to know a secret.
Right. Once the secret's out, it's open source. It's like, well, okay, there's open source sitting there on a GitHub server somewhere. Like,
it's a really powerful type of meditation, though, for sure. So we're hoping to. None of the other apps teach that today, and so that we're hoping to teach that as well.
Yeah, I got introduced to it through Sam Harris, actually, who introduced me to Diana Winston at UCLA, who runs they have a mindfulness program at UCLA, and all the stuff is free. The sleep stuff has been, I think Calm.com has done a really good job with theirs.
I love the sleep stuff. I'm a member of Calm.com. I pay for
$10 a month is a great deal, $100 a year. And they have these great sleep stories, and they made them for kids. And as you will learn at some point, putting your kids to bed is like the big challenge of parenting. Because
November 4th is when
you'll figure that out, yeah. Well, when they become like 2 or 3 years old, what happens is they're so full of joy and life, and dad wants to put them to bed, and they're like, Dad, I don't want to go to bed. I'm having such a good time hanging out with you.
Right.
Which is a pretty great compliment. It's kind of like, let's keep the party going. And it's like, but you have to get up for school.
Right.
And if you're late for school, then that's not a good habit. We got to get you going. And so my daughter now loves sleep stories. So we read a book, then I just give her my phone. She picks a sleep story. Boom, and she listens to Velveteen Rabbit, and they have like 2 different Velveteen Rabbits. And then she's like, I want to listen to this one. Who's Ferris Bueller?
That's amazing.
And I'm like, it was a movie that you're too young to see, but in 5 years, we're going to see it together, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But they had the teacher.
Oh, no way. Bueller.
Anyone. Yeah. Bueller. So he reads like some laws of economics. He reads like an economics book in that voice. Like Friedman's economic treatise on whatever from like 200 years ago. And she listens to the first 15 minutes of it. Then she comes out of her bed and comes back to the room, and she's like, that was really boring. Can we put the Velveteen Rabbit on? All right, here's a question from the audience. What's the future of Twitter? Is live video a panacea? And what's Apple's next chance for a home run? Take those in any order you like. And that's from Alex Carter.
What do you think about the new HomePod today?
It's an Alexa for $350.
But it's a better speaker, though.
It looks like a better speaker.
Do you have any of the higher-end speakers, like a DVLA Phantom or anything like that?
I don't have any of those. I went down that rabbit hole. I got the FLAC thing going, and I started looking at and I realized I can't tell the difference, really.
Right.
So I think I may not be an audiophile enough to know the difference. So I have Sonos, obviously.
Right.
And then I've bought every other type of portable speaker. But you have some really good speaker that you recommend?
You know, I've tried everything, and I think is in terms of an all-in-one kind of standalone unit, the DVLA Phantom is by far the best.
DVLA Phantom.
That's right. Huh. And they sell those at the Apple Store, but they're pricey. They're a couple $1,000 a piece. But you only need one. It's an all-in-one kind of crazy. It doesn't have any of the voice functionality or anything like that. Oh. But I think this is a smart play for Apple, because if you think about just yet another little tiny, home device like the Google Home or the Alexa device or the Echo or whatever it may be, I don't know that I would buy one because I already have one of those. But I would buy an upgraded Sonos, like a smarter Sonos.
That's the thing, is Sonos seems like they were so early, but now the dedicated app was so great. And now the dedicated app is such a hindrance because Spotify's app is so good. So they just let you now control your Sonos from the Spotify app, which I think was a really smart move.
That was. Then they go direct to the hardware from the Spotify app. Yeah, that's great. The problem I have is just iTunes is just horrible. It's terrible. It's a terrible music experience. It's not well designed. It's
Apple
clunky,
Music is marginally
slow.
better, but still not great.
It's just really slow and clunky. It feels dated.
Yeah.
Compared to Spotify or any of these others, or even Google. Google Music is actually quite good. I don't know if you've played with that at all.
Oh yeah, Google Music is pretty good.
Play music.
I like
or whatever.
YouTube Music actually, because what I'm really into is I get really deep into an artist. So I'm really into Dire Straits right now and Mark Knopfler, and then on YouTube they have all these rare, bootlegs and cuts and covers, and YouTube Music comes for free with YouTube Pro. Are you a YouTube Red?
I'm not. I should be though.
YouTube Red is the best $10 a month you'll ever spend.
Oh, that's what people say. I should.
You know why? You don't realize how many ads you consume on YouTube and how annoying clicking that, skip after 4 seconds thing is 5 times a day. And then your usage of YouTube goes up because you are not conditioned to be attacked with an ad and have to go through that skip feature.
There's so many little things in the last couple of years that are saving us a ton of time, like the touch bar for unlocking your passwords and putting in your passwords.
Amazing.
Do you use 1Password with the touch bar?
I use 1Pass, with
so
the touch
fast.
Bar. Yeah, you're just like, boop.
If that saves me probably 10 seconds a day, like 10 times in the day.
Oh, you're talking about with the new MacBook.
Yes.
I don't have that yet.
Oh, you have to get that. So it automatically just puts your password right in for you just with the touch of your finger. No
so
unlocking, no typing in your passwords.
So great.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I got to get that for sure. What do you think about Twitter? If you were the CEO of Twitter, which would be actually a pretty good turn of events, I think, because you're a product guy and you would do it full time. You ever get asked to do any of those big jobs? You get like any big public company ever asked to pull you on?
No, I mean, I've had
people
some
don't see you as a CEO. They
I've
see you
had
as
some
a product guy.
offers to come in and do some decent product size things, but I feel, I don't know. It's really hard. I mean, we try with Digg. It's hard to turn around a company, and Twitter is. Although I wish I had Digg today, I would completely reinvent the thing.
Really?
I know what I would do. I would create its own cryptocurrency. I would make there be a free exchange for Diggs, and you could buy kind of like you would gain more currency if you dug something early on and it became very popular.
Oh wow!
And so it's kind of like placing a bet on a story, and if that story becomes eventually really popular, you would get more currency back, and then that currency could then be exchanged out for real fiat, out for dollars via ads.
So genius.
So advertisers could come in and buy currency from the users. So users could get paid.
Right.
I don't know. It could be really cool. Anyway.
That's such a good idea. Well, you know what it makes sense for is, and it goes back to the original debate we had when I did Netscape, which was, could it become a job to be a digger, right? Which was like a core thesis I had was, there's something very special about those people.
Right.
And if they don't make money somehow, if there's no way for them to monetize that passion, they're going to figure it out, some group of them, and which is what's happened to Reddit.
They were selling them all, selling the votes, and
They're selling votes.
It happened with Digg too. People were buying votes, and we had to fight that nonstop.
Yeah, so you're saying is embrace it. Now that the microcurrency exists.
Exactly.
So you have Digg coins.
It's like a fraction of a cent. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, Kevin, this is could be the best idea you've ever had. Because what's really interesting about it is, if I submit a story, and it hits the homepage, I could earn for hitting the homepage.
Exactly.
If I vote early, the second vote, the third vote gets something.
Right. They get big dividends based on, exactly.
It's like owning the stock early. It's like being an angel investor in the story.
Right.
So if it does make the homepage, it pays 10 to 1 or something.
Right.
I get 10, K coins, Kevin coins. If I hit the person who that's really interesting. So the first person to get to the story and make the audience aware of it gets some amount of currency.
Yeah, if you're an Ethereum developer out there and you want to chat, hit me up on @KevinRose on Twitter. I'd love to talk to someone deeper about this.
Well, it's really interesting because when you think about micro transactions, it's something we always dreamed about.
Right.
15 years ago.
Everyone did, because you wanted a way to get paid for like little tiny behavior on viewing an article or whatever.
Or give, right? And I guess they tried that with...
I've always wanted that universal tip jar. It's never really existed.
Nobody's got it done. I really have tried to back a company doing that. This is a call for startups. If somebody has this idea, Kevin and I will put money in.
That sounds great.
I love the tip jar. I always wanted somebody to have a Chrome extension or a browser that allowed me if it just reminded me every couple of weeks and said, hey, by the way, you liked this person's tweets the most. You retweeted this person the most. You read these authors. For the month of January, you visited the New York Times many times, or this authors. Would you like to donate, whatever, a penny to each one?
Yeah.
And boom, I do it.
See, I would just say a fixed amount of dollars automatically divided by my attention.
$10 a month divided by...
I'll donate $10 a month. I'm not even going to look at it. I'm just going to browse the web, do what I normally do. It'll automatically remove all the ads because it knows I'm one of these paying people. And then if I spend 20% of my time at the New York Times, they get 20% of the $10.
Love it.
That could be awesome. Fully automated. You just don't have to think about it. Set it and forget it.
Just make sure you use incognito mode if you're visiting porn sites, because it could be like 78% of your money is going to these adult sites.
You could do also tips on top of that. So Wait But Why. I read one of his articles.
everybody
and I'm
loves
like,
that.
I love this guy. $20, or something
Right,
like
for sure.
on a really long,
Well thought out.
well thought out, exactly.
See, this is where I think Ev with Medium could actually do something
I
interesting.
agree.
Medium is
take it
waiting.
offsite. Allow Medium to embrace the coin or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But then take that offsite.
M coins would be amazing. You're getting a little into these ICOs. Explain to
love
the
it.
audience what this is, because I am fascinated too.
Yeah. Have
But
you been
I don't
placing
fully
any bets?
I have not placed a bet. What I usually do is I wait for you and Naval and whoever to run up the hill. And then I just sort of peek around the corner. I'm like, all right, did they get shot?
Yeah.
By the arrows? Okay, no
I'm
arrows?
right behind Naval. So Naval will take a couple arrows. I'll
Perfect.
kind of dodge them. And then you
Right,
get
now I'll
behind
just
me.
come over and just grab what I can.
Exactly.
While you two guys are
After
bleeding
we
out.
die, everybody dies.
I'll just pick up whatever I can find.
Right.
There's got to be
Take
something
all of
here.
our coins that we dropped and just like run.
No, you got to be careful being the first guy up the hill.
Yeah, it's true.
So explain to the audience what this is. What's an ICO?
Yeah, it's just
and why because we all know what Bitcoin is. We know
Sure.
what Ethereum is. But ICO is something new.
Right.
What is it?
So, I mean, the best way to describe it is that an ICO is just called an initial coin offering. And what's happening is that there are these tokens that are being created. So think of them as like smaller cryptocurrencies that piggyback on the back of, say, an Ethereum. So you can take an Ethereum, you can launch a smaller token that is a currency, but also you can use that to power your platform.
Got it.
So
like API calls.
If you have a new type of system that requires a currency as fuel to run, you can then use that newly created currency as that fuel. So for example, the Filecoin ICO is coming up, and this is like a completely distributed, encrypted, decentralized version of Dropbox, if you will.
Right.
And so individuals can provide extra hard drive space, and they're paid in Filecoin based on the latency between and how quickly they deliver the files
Wow.
and the amount of storage that they're providing.
Genius.
So it's really cool. So they're launching an ICO in a couple weeks. Naval just
So we
launched.
can buy the coins.
We can buy the coins. They're going to be kind of the fuel for this entire ecosystem.
So if Filecoin becomes a big deal,
Right.
you may have bought the coins before it had mass adoption. Therefore, you get whatever the value of them appreciating is over the next
So
decade.
there's a bunch of these like Gollum and a few others where there are these, the most recent one was BAT, the basic attention token. And that was the guy that created JavaScript created this browser called Brave that is more or less what we're kind of talking about, where
Right.
it blocks some advertisements and then is hoping to donate and give back currency to the sites where
Genius.
you spend your time. I'll be curious to see if they can get it in the form of an extension so I don't have to download a dedicated browser.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of hurdles to get over there. So essentially, it's this idea that you're just buying these currencies. People will say this product is, or project is succeeding. They'll buy more of it. The value will go up, and then there's complete liquidity. So you can go and sell your coins at any point in time.
But they're not equity in the company necessarily.
That's right.
They're in a way equity in the core value proposition.
That's right.
It's almost like shadow equity in a way.
Yeah, it is. It's almost like it's a kind of like you're looking. The market is treating the currency as like a proxy for how well the business is doing.
Right.
So
It's a little. The SEC
Yeah.
might be a little interested.
They might. But
The SEC, by the way, they're on top of this kind of stuff. People don't think so, but
well, that's why Naval was smart and said, okay, listen, for Filecoin and for any projects that we get behind, we're going to make sure they're accredited investors.
Right.
So they launched CoinList.co.
Right.
And that's where you can go to sign up for these ICOs that are vetted by Naval, the Angel List team, and all of that.
So the founders can't be, or they're going to be vetted. So it's not some Russian hackers who put up a website or something.
Right, exactly.
There should be some level of vetting.
Because anyone can launch a coin. Like you literally could hire a developer and have your own currency within 8 hours.
I just love the idea of the fund coin. I know Brock Pierce told me he's trying to raise his new fund and put a certain percentage of the fund in coins. So then imagine if we were both in Founders Fund 5 and we're like, oh my God, SpaceX was in Founders Fund 5. I'm making this up. And, oh my God, SpaceX is about to go public. And gosh, we each have, $100,000 as LPs in Founders Fund 5, but it's in coins. And now that's a 10X fund. So we now have $1 million. I could say, Kev, I need to buy this apartment. I'll give you it to you for $700K, and
that's
you
amazing.
get a 30% discount.
Instant liquidity, and there's a smart contract that handles all of that, and that's brilliant.
That's where I think
that's the problem we have these days. Is you go and you make an investment in a fund, and you're locked up for 7, 8, 9 years.
This is what I was thinking. Like if I were to do another angel fund, I got to be very careful here. If I were to do another angel fund, if I had it be coin based, and I told everybody you're buying coins, the coins have liquidity. If I were to hit another Robinhood, Uber, Thumbtack, whatever, they could then say, well, forget the other, like Chris Sacca's fund, like forget about all the other investments, put those aside. It's just the Uber's in there. Therefore, the fund that was $8 million is now worth, $1.5 billion, just based on that. Just consider them Uber shares, essentially.
Right.
Everything else wiped out.
So, but then the question is, how do you actually, when you get the returns, let's say you get 75 USD in the bank, 75 million, would you buy back the coins then? Is that the form of liquidity?
I think that's what would happen is the fund would redeem the coins for the shares.
That's right.
So if it was a cash distribution, they would say, give us your, if let's say the fund made 2 investments, give us, and you bought 2 coins, give us 1 coin back, we're going to give you distribution, you still have the other coin in play.
So the coins would have to be, you'd have to be able to claim them back or take them back.
I guess so, yeah. If you want
There's
the
something
cash.
here.
There's definitely something there.
It's like, we definitely need to sit down with a proper developer that would understand this a little deeper than you and I do, but yeah, there's something here.